In this video, we're going to have a look at a plugin called Recoda Workspace, which is made to integrate with Oxygen Builder and provide several enhancements from a development and a design perspective. So we've installed Recoda Workspace, and now we're just going to head over to Oxygen. So here we are in Oxygen, and what you're going to notice is that the interface is slightly different to what you're used to. You'll notice some extra icons across the top. We have the various screen sizes here. We have then shortcuts to the various advanced elements down the left hand side, and then along the bottom we have even more tools that are designed to make designing a lot faster. So just to start off with some of the basics, then over here you have your WordPress link. So if you're leaving the design environment, you can head over to the front end, to templates, to post pages or media. You can also just right click and open in a new tab. So we have that. This is the standard workspace area, and here we have a couple of elements. What's nice here is that the indentation here between elements is very narrow, which means that you can get quite a few items into place and still see all the items without the need to scroll. If you do find that you'd like to move elements between different levels, what's really nice is that when you select an item, the item just below it is then highlighted. So if you want to go back to where the original item was, it's quite easy then just to navigate back to that position. So that's what's really nice here. And also the drag and drop of the various elements also seems to be a lot smoother and easier. Next, we'll just have a look here at the selectors. So here we have the selectors, the atomic, and if you select an item, you'll see here on the left hand side that the elements to edit appear, and immediately, instead of having to go to advanced and then typography, you'll see a green dot next to the item where changes have been made. So as I go through the list here, you'll see that will change then depending on the element that I've selected. So that makes it really quick and easy to find the element, and then also to identify what the setting for that particular element is. Next, I'm going to move over here to the style sheets, where you can add style sheets. So here we have the atomic folder, here we have an uncategorized folder. If I go into a custom style sheet, for example this one, you'll see here that the syntax is highlighted, so it's easy to identify what those elements are. What's also nice now is, as you can see, I need to scroll to view. What I can do though is just drag out the side panel, and now I can see what I need to see without having to extend it more than what I absolutely need to. So that's the nice thing here, is that I can just drag and drop that interface to the left and right. I can do the same thing on the right hand side. I can also drag and drop and adjust the width of the side element. So that is a really useful feature. And then we have the standard page settings, editor settings, global styles, and when you go in, you'll be familiar with those settings. They work as normal. And then over here you can actually see the styles that are applied to an element. So if I was to select the heading, the title, then you will see here the font size and the font weight, and then whatever other setting has been applied. And these are generally perhaps standard theme settings or CSS styles that you'll see over here. But as I go through each item, you'll see that I can quite easily identify what styles have been applied. If no additional style is applied, then just the default style is then indicated. So as you can see, very easy to navigate between the elements and see what those styles are. That's what we have across the top of the page. So I'm going to head back here to the standard view, and once again we can drag it wider or leave it narrower depending on what we're doing, and you do get a full view of the elements and the nested elements. Just having a look here then on the left hand side, if we want to change the screen for different screen interfaces, so that would be mobile view, and then straight back to the normal a desktop view. So very easy to navigate between the different screen sizes. And there are additional settings for breakpoints. If we head down to the bottom of the page here, you'll see that here we can manually enter a canvas size, so not screen size for the front end, but perhaps more for a working environment. And then over here we have the option to toggle responsive controls. So these are not okay, so the icon is just a heading, and if you click on the 3 buttons next to it, you can see the different sizes. So quite easy then here to select a phone that you'd like to test or have a look to see, or you can also then choose any of these presets here to have a look and see what the website will look at on different sizes, and then you can also flip that screen size to see what it would look like in the horizontal view. So a nice quick way to identify and to work with different screen sizes. So you have that option at the bottom of the screen, and then you also have this option across the top of the screen to have a look and see what it's going to look like. So this is the standard Oxygen settings for different screens. These icons are pretty much the same, and then here, instead of having to, for example, I'm going to go back to full screen. If I wanted to add a background to this page, I would normally go, let's say, background, and then I would have a look at gradient, and gradient would be right at the bottom of the page. What's nice now is that it's moved to the top of the page, and if I select, then I can simply add the color as normal. The other nice thing about it is that instead of in the advanced view having to go to advanced view each time and then selecting where in the advanced view I'd like to go, I can simply select the section from the left hand side and go straight to that area. The other nice thing is that if any settings are set, you'll see that there's a green dot to indicate where the settings are, which is great. And also I can slide out, make it wider or narrower depending on what I'm working with. So that saves quite a bit of time. The other nice thing that you have here is when you click on add, then of course you can see the various elements, and what's really nice is because the icons are a lot smaller, you can see a lot more icons all at the same time. What's also nice is that as you drag out to the right hand side, then the icons move and you can get even more icons in a row. So that makes it a lot easier to find and a lot faster to find the elements that you're looking for. Let's just have a look at helpers, and there you'll see once again categorized in the different categories, but a lot easier to find in the listing. So that's a really big help there. There we have the WordPress, here we have the dynamic data, so you can see very easy to find the various elements, and even third-party plugins play nicely as well inside that interface. Then we have the libraries as normal and any reusable assets as normal. So a very nice couple of enhancements here, and already from a design point of view you can already get an idea of just how much faster you're able to work by being able to go to the element you want a lot faster, and then also when it comes to editing to be able to go to that specific element and apply the edit. And then with the little green icons, much easier to see what styles have been applied to the various elements. So let's move over here to the bottom of the screen. If I was to select launch new server instance, then you'll see that it loads the page that I'm busy working on in a new window, and I can immediately see the design. If I've made any changes, I can then refresh, and that will then refresh the data in the server. So that's just a nice quick way to see what it is that you're working on. There is a macro mode where you can record a macro. Not something that I've tested, but a feature that is available. Then we also have this X-ray toggle mode, which is really great because now you can actually see the various elements, and you can also get an idea of how the various styles are applied. So here with the columns, I can immediately see what that spacing difference is. And also if you were having issues on your mobile view, you would be able to scroll down and see exactly what's going on. So in this case, I can immediately see here, for example, that I need to widen this element, and I can immediately see which element to widen and simply come in, and very quickly now I'm able to select the right element, make that adjustment, and then get the view the way that I'd like it to be. Even here looking at post events, maybe what I want to do on mobile is change that repeater layout to the vertical, and immediately after making the change I can see that I need to adjust the width of this particular element to 100%. So very easy then to work inside that wireframe view to identify the element and then to make the changes. So that's a really great mode, the X-ray mode. Then we also have this grid guide. So we'll head back now to the full screen, and with this overlay I'm able to see if or how my elements fit within the grid view. So when it comes to alignment, nice and easy now, I can actually see the layout and position the elements the way that I would like them to be. So that's another great enhancement. Import style sheets inside the editor, that button not working at the moment, but I'm pretty sure something will be happening there soon. Then if we have a look here at the auto fix, when you select the auto fix here in the top right hand corner, you get a message saying fixes applied. Not sure what those auto fixes will be. And the next item, which is also really cool, is this interface for the settings. So what's nice now is that I can actually set the width of the panels for my screen, so that when it opens I get the panels immediately at a default width that I would like them to be. So I can go for super narrow if I have a super big screen, and then I can maximize my workspace. So that really makes it a lot easier. You also have this handle width, so that's this width over here to make it easier to drag the various screens over. I like to keep it as narrow as possible. Then you have the left to right panel max ratio. So if you want one panel to be wider than the other one, you can apply that setting over here. Then you also have the code editor font size. Now that's when editing code, so if you like to read a little bit larger, you can set that to a much higher value or keep it quite small. And then you have a whole lot of different additional settings here. So you can go through here. You're also able to even select a theme and adjust the look and feel of your particular layout. We also have the option then to export or to import the settings, and a feedback option, report a bug, some documentation, and then also support. So the settings page really allows you to set up your workspace the way that you want, which is also a fantastic feature. A new feature in this particular plugin as well then is the option to apply various settings or add elements through this panel over here. So instead of having to go and select an item, what you can do is if we were going to, let's just widen that, and I'm going to collapse that item, select the inner content, and if I wanted to add a section, instead of going to the standard way of adding a section, I can come in and simply add a section. So there we have the section added, and if I wanted to add a style sheet to that section, I could go and if I wanted to add a second style, I could then enter those values, enter, and now you'll see here in the top left hand side that the two styles have been applied. So that's a very nice way to work. If you know what you want to do, instead of having to click, you can simply use this command line interface and add elements. So another example, for example, if I wanted to add a div, I could then simply add the div to the section. Right, so there's the div, and quite easy then just to move it in. So The other nice thing about this is that when you're on an element, you can also then just update the tag very quickly from the menu on the left as well. So a really great plugin. It does speed up the development cycle. I've been using it on a couple of tests, and I have to say that just having this ability here to drag the sides wider has made a huge difference in quickly being able to access elements, and then also here being able to go directly to a particular style element instead of having to always go through to advanced and then to select and then to get to the element. That has made a huge difference in being able to style and update things really quickly. So this is just a really brief introduction into what's possible. What I would recommend then is to head over here to the settings tab, the user preferences, and then to head over to the docs. And inside the documentation, you'll see that it's a comprehensive set of documentation. You can have a look at, where to start, the interface overview. There's a whole lot of different things that you can look into. For example, here you see the advanced strip, and also you can see the shortcut to that particular section if you're using your keyboard. So that also is a great way to speed up the process. The other nice thing about this is the command line interface, and here you're also then given some clues as to what's available, and there may even be more on the way. But the nice thing here is you can add an element, add a sibling element, select a parent, add a class, change the tag, duplicate once or several times, rename, change the content, even add an attribute. So there's a whole lot of things that you can do. There's some examples, and then there's also some indication as to what the various codes are, or the shortcuts are, or the references are to adding elements. And then there's also a introduction into creating your first commands. And the shortcuts also include being able to select multiple items to apply various changes to all the elements at the same time. There's a whole lot that can be done through the command line interface, which will make it a lot quicker if you know what you want to do, and you don't necessarily then have to click around. You can just type in what you want to achieve. So that is pretty much the documentation on Recoda. And if we go and have a look at the website, so we'll just remove docs, and we'll have a look at the Recoda website, and you'll see here, think about doing more work in less time, and it's really about doing that. You can revamp your workflow. You definitely have some design tool must-haves that make it a lot easier to work with. And here with the tools for developing, it does also speed up the development time. So a great way to get even more out of your Oxygen builder. And I would highly recommend that you head over to the recoda.me website and get the workspace, install it and use it, and I'm pretty sure you'll find that you're able to do a lot more in a lot less time. Just one other thing that we can have a look at here is if we look at the coding area, you'll see that you are able to, let's add a code block, so add, and the elements are in the same place, just a little bit easier to access. And when you're in the coding area, you'll see that the items are color coded as normal to make it easier to use. And then there are some, once again, you have the themes to make it easier then to use the code in the way that you're more familiar. So yeah, I would highly recommend that you head over, install Recoda, try it out, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be pleasantly surprised with what's possible. So just a quick introduction. Hope you enjoyed that video. Thank you for watching.